Hello. It sure is cold out. Let's see, today is November 22nd, I believe. And today I'm going to be doing fava beans. So, full disclosure, I should have started my fava beans in October, but life happened, so this is more of an experiment. You also might hear the ducks in the background. They call out for me. Anywho, so I'm going to put my fava beans where my tomatoes were. So I accomplished two things at once. One is cleaning out all my old tomatoes, and then of course getting the fava beans in there. One thing I did do with the fava beans was last night I soaked them in about room temperature water, not too warm, definitely not over 75 degrees, just to help get the action started a little quicker, especially because I'm planting so late. Now, I don't know if it's going to work out okay, so I only did half of my seed to plant out, and I'll see how it works in the spring, obviously, and then I do plan to also plant the rest of the favas in the spring. But the reason I selected this spot in particular is that I've already got the trellis for the tomatoes, and what I'm going to do is when they start getting large, you'll see I've got these U-posts every 10 feet or so. Well, that looks a lot more than 10 feet, but every 10 feet or so. And so what I'll do is just tie a string going from one to the next one, kind of sort of like a loose floor to weave style, and that way it can help the fava beans to grow up and not be all over the place. So I'm gonna go ahead and basically just start cutting this stuff out and cleaning up everything. I've got all these leaves, which are really great. I'm gonna push those to the side, and then when I'm done planting, I'll push them back in the middle, and all of this tomato stuff will go for compost. So I'll probably do a fast, do it where it records in twice the speed or whatever, because I'm sure I'm not super fun to watch for like 7 hours doing it. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got a nice bed. I just did the first 10 feet, or I think it's more like 15 feet, but anyways. And so I cut out all the tomato stuff. The net is free hanging, and I raked back all of the leaves to kind of create a nice little bed area and see how far I get. These are the fava beans. Like I said, I soaked them last night. And I've already drained the water. You can start to see the little ends kind of peeking out and separating just a little bit as they get ready to live their best life. I'm going to plant them about an inch down and about 6 inches apart. It's not very scientific, but my fingers fully extended out are like, I think 7 or 8 or 9 inches. So I just kind of like mostly go like that. I don't know if that exactly works, but I start in from where my row is, and then I'll just dig like a little hole with my fingers. I usually wear gloves, but I did it and my hands are all dirty anyways. That happens like 90% of the time, admittedly. And then I'll just take one of these little guys and drop it in and keep going. So I'll do the time lapse on that so you can see, but just to recap, fava beans, pre-soaked, 1 inch down, 6 inches apart. And again, I'm starting a little late on this, but we'll see in the spring if I have beautiful fava beans or if it turns into a disaster. But that's where we learn. I should have had them in November, October, or October, September, something more October, but that's just a busy time for me, and so we're running an experiment. So I put another one in right here. My beds are 30 inches. And my walkways are 18 inches, approximately. Everything moves a little bit, especially with the leaves and whatnot. And I do no-till. I've got compost mulch on top here of the beds, and then I've got the wood chips, which you can't see because it's covered in leaves. But leaves are excellent. I don't pick them up, I leave them. And yeah, so I'll get to planting and I'll pick you up on the other end. Okay, so I definitely was hoping that I would fit them all in here without having to clear more of the road, but it looks like that's what's going to happen, so I'll do that off camera. I've still got quite a bit of seed left. Also, this is a recycled plastic cup, by the way. I always try and reuse things, anything really, and everything. Anywho, so I planted so far 15 long and 3 wide. I was going to do 4, but what I think I'm going to do is I spaced them a little further because it's supposed to be a colder than usual winter, and so I wasn't sure. So I'm going to do these ones spaced a little thicker and kind of see how they do, and then probably do like another half row and plant them a little more densely and kind of just see how that goes, and do the same thing on my spring experiments. So I appreciate you following along and watching my quick video. Fingers crossed for fava beans in the early spring or late spring. I guess it depends. You know, I'm not really sure. It's my first time, so I'm excited for that. I did do some favas overwintered a couple years ago, but they didn't turn out so well. But yeah, so I'm really excited. Hopefully I didn't miss my window, and I guess I'll learn how late I can plant fava beans today/next year. Thank you again, Christy with Little Roots Ranch. Bye.